a complaint can make a difference, and that's something that one person can do. So who's to say whether it is valuable or not? And the woman who responded to Kim saying, hey, why don't you use your power for something good? Who's to say what's good? How do we know what would be a valuable use of our time? It is not an easy question to answer, In fact, it's something that I've been researching for years and still don't have a full answer for. The best answer I have is do the things you care about. If you can only support creators who provide value and make you think, please consider contributing to my Patreon page the next time you watch one of my videos. Hello everybody and welcome. Today I want to talk about a tweet that I was actually just reading. And it's humorous that I want to talk about this tweet because I had another idea for a video that I really wanted to do, and I had it in my head for such a long time, but then I was completely distracted by this concept. So I'm like, might as well do this concept. I do think it's a valuable one, so I don't feel like it's a waste of time or anything. I'm just hoping that the other idea will come back and I can do that tomorrow too. But essentially, the tweet that I read and that started me along this journey was one by Kim Kardashian. And it's humorous that I even accessed this particular tweet at all in the first place. But essentially, what Kim had tweeted was that she had a complaint to Jack in the Box, like a serious complaint, and that she wanted Jack in the Box to respond so that she could talk to them about it in a more private scenario rather than like putting all the information out on Twitter for everybody else to read. So yeah, not a really important tweet in my opinion, but clearly it was something she was feeling passionate about at the moment, so who can fault her for that? But what really got my attention was the first reply to her tweet was something along the lines of, dude, you have all this power, why don't you use it for something good? And then that same individual went into their own life and how much good they're doing in their particular situation, and they're not getting any praise for it. So, like, seriously, why doesn't she just, like, do something important or valuable? And I found their response annoying. Maybe you guys agree. And I don't blame you if you do. I mean, honestly, I think this is a fairly common concept that if you have power, you should use it for good. It's kind of like that concept of if you can make a positive change, then you should. That's certainly a concept that kicked me in the butt a couple of times. So I can understand that perspective. I can understand wanting somebody to really start to utilize their influence for change, positive change. But the concept that kind of irked me here was that this woman has no idea what happened in Kim's life. And while I doubt I would ever take a complaint from Jack in the Box to them and be like, hey, this really sucked, because I just don't care that much about their business. And, if I have a bad experience, I have a bad experience, and it might detract from me coming back again, but honestly, in the long run, doesn't matter much to me. If, however, it matters a lot to her, she can totally pursue that. I think that's her right. She's allowed to do that. She's allowed to voice that complaint. And she might end up making a positive change along the way. And that's where this reply saying that she really needs to invest more time in doing positive changes in the world bugged me, because we don't know what's a positive change. And that kind of response just causes tension and rift and argument and belittling. I mean, it's a very judgmental kind of response. So many of us, we look at the lives of the people around us and we judge them. We say, hey, you're not doing something important. You're not doing something worthwhile. And then oftentimes we point back at ourselves and say, see what I'm doing? This is important. This is valuable. So on and so forth. But the truth is, none of us knows what's going to change the world. None of us knows what's really important in the eyes of the world. Most of us can only look at what we see as problems and then try to change them from our perspective. And this particular scenario reminded me of the Serenity Prayer. This was one that I heard a lot growing up, which is the concept of, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That's a very big ask if you look at those words. I mean, knowledge of what you can change, knowledge of what it is you can't, and the ability to actually make changes in the areas that you can. I mean, it's a crazy amount of responsibility. It's a really big ask where you're just like, give me the wisdom to know. And honestly, I think this is what we're all looking for. We all want to know what is a good use of our time, what is a good use of our energy, what we can and cannot change. And the truth is, we don't know what we can and cannot change. The best we can do is guess. And even if we guess, we cannot know if what we're doing is actually helpful or if it is somehow detrimental to the overall effort. We just don't know. So when you say, hey, we should really do something about this global warming thing, as opposed to, getting people off the streets, whatever the case may be. If you say global warming is more important than homeless people who are homeless not by choice, use that caveat, then you're kind of putting in a hierarchy of, what is valuable and what's important, and belittling the people who disagree with your stance. So if you believe global warming is more important than homelessness, you look down at the people who believe homelessness is more important, whose scale is more like this: homelessness and then global warming, or whatever the case may be. Some people don't even believe in global warming. So, we don't even actually know if that's a problem. Most of us are like, yeah, we should probably reduce our carbon output. We should reduce the amount of pollution we're putting into the atmosphere and all these other things. And, that's kind of a general stance where it's just like, yeah, maybe we should be a little more cautious of what we're doing. But honestly, we don't know what it is we do or do not need, what the world does or does not need. The best we can do is go from our current knowledge. And if our current understanding is that there is, say, too much carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, maybe we should reduce the amount of carbon dioxide we put into the atmosphere. And that's essentially as far as you can go with this. But when you look at big issues like global warming, you're talking about an issue that's going to take concerted effort on the parts of many. One person is probably not going to affect this change by themselves. And the only way that one person could affect this change is by influencing other people to help them in the effort. This is similar to my concept of community building, where I want to create a community where people are no longer dependent on their job for their survival. They are allowed to live without worries of losing their house, without need of food, and their money can go strictly to luxury items. Their housing, their food, and their clothing and stuff are all free. Water, all the whole shebang, everything you need is available to you. And the contribution you therefore have is for luxury purposes. You are creating an environment where people can create, can follow their passions, and, actually live a life rather than struggling for survival daily. This is a concept that I really want to work on. This is something that I am passionate about and I want to build. But there again, if I'm creating a community, I need other people. Even if I did all the work myself, I still need other people to live in the community. So my job as somebody who wants to implement this is to inspire and ask other people to help me with it. And that goes for global warming, that goes for reducing homelessness, that goes for reducing prostitution. I mean, that can go for pretty much any societal issue, assuming you see it as an issue. The amount of people in prisons, for example. Teal Swan seems to have a passion for shifting the prison system. I personally like this concept. I think there should be some changes in our imprisonment system, but that's not something I'm passionate about. If she's passionate about it and wants to make a change there, cool, but she's not going to be able to do that alone. She's got to get everybody else on board. Needs to get prisons on board, needs to get government on board, at least in a trial manner, or whatever the case may be. It's not going to be just her. She may be the inspiration, but the implementation requires many. So when Kim was talking about a complaint she had about Jack in the Box, in my eyes, that is something that she can change on her own. And I'm not saying that she's going to completely change Jack in the Box, but if there is a particular problem that she believes would better the experience of other people in Jack in the Box, why not make that change? That is a change she can make. Who's to say it's not valuable? Other people eat there, clearly it's a place that provides value, because otherwise Jack in the Box wouldn't exist. People like going there, it's easy, it's convenient. That's the point of fast food, is so that you can get sustenance without a whole lot of effort and without a whole lot of time. That's kind of what fast food's all about. Now, there is a movement as far as fast food goes towards healthier food, and I think that's a good thing. We definitely need to start nourishing ourselves more, and personally, as somebody who is just starting to get on board with this whole exercise thing, I am not a big advocate at this point of, working out every day and eating like super duper healthy or vegan or anything like that. I would like to move in those directions, but I don't want to make it be like a life force. I don't want this to be the focus of my life like it turns into for so many. So as somebody who is like slightly on the bandwagon for healthier foods and, like more consistent exercise and things like that, I don't really care that much about fighting for those things. It's not that important to me, because in my life, if I want to eat healthy, it's on me, and I can. So if you are somebody who has very little time and doesn't feel like they have the energy to go and make food for yourself, fast food joints are probably your bread and butter. Literally. More than likely you're getting most of your food from there because it's convenient and it's fast and you can get food in and get back to work quickly. That's why they're there. So a movement towards healthier fast food restaurants I think is a great thing, because then you can get healthy food rather cheap, quickly, and get back to work, have that ease and have that convenience right there in a healthy way. I think that's great. So whatever Kim's complaint is to Jack in the Box, it's possible that it will implement change within that particular restaurant brand. Whatever the complaint may be, it may not have anything to do with health. It may have to do with, the way that she was treated or whatever the case may be. I don't know. You'd have to ask her. But the point is, a complaint can make a difference, and that's something that one person can do. So who's to say whether it is valuable or not? And the woman who responded to Kim saying, hey, why don't you use your power for something good? Who's to say what's good? How do we know what would be a valuable use of our time? It is not an easy question to answer, In fact, it's something that I've been researching for years and still don't have a full answer for. The best answer I have is do the things you care about. That is what's a valuable way to spend your time. That is how you live a full life. You do the things you care about. And that includes changing things that you dislike, which is what Kim's doing. So who's to say it's not valuable? Or that's what she's trying to do anyway. So I guess the message that I'm really wanting to put here is we need to stop this kind of judgment where we assume that what everybody else is doing is useless or wasteful, or that people should use their power for good, even though we don't actually know what good is. And realistically, what we need to focus on is what we can change, what we can shift. We need the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I really hope I get that one day. And as somebody who's been doing this spiritual stuff, personal development for years, I can tell you I'm not quite there yet. I think I might know more about what's right for me than I used to. I cannot be 100% sure of where I need to go with my life, of what I need to do, of which direction I need to travel in. I just don't know. So for somebody who maybe doesn't have the same level of training, give yourself a break. You don't necessarily know what's right either. And everybody else in the world is pretty much in the same boat. None of us knows for sure which direction to go. I mean, there may be some. I mean, if you go to a Buddhist temple, there might be a couple that are like, yeah, I know exactly what I should do next. But whatever the case may be, most of us don't. Most of us can only guess at what is the best path forward. So trust that the answers will come to you. Trust that what you're feeling passionate about right now is what you need to be doing and focusing on. And from there, maybe we can actually start to implement lasting positive change. Because we're no longer judging people for what they have or have not done. Instead, we accept and appreciate them for doing the work that they do. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like it, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and if you have any questions, comments, ideas for future videos, whatever, leave those in the comment section and I will do my best to respond appropriately. And that is all I have to say today. So, I hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.